going live. Going live. What is tonight? Tonight is a big night. We have episode 18. I know there is football tonight. Hopefully we still get some of y'all in here. Here they come. I start seeing the numbers go up. Big Jeff in the house. Episode 18 with some special guests from Stillwater. Kicker. We're going to be talking about that tonight. Everybody see under my name, Kicker is coming back in the base head world. So we're just going to chit chat before we kick this thing off. And hopefully we get a bunch of people that are more interested in talking about speakers, amps than football. But I understand that's why we're going to be changing all the podcasts after this. Rodney Martin, thank you for coming on in. Joshi Kumar. Remember, next episodes will be on Friday, so I can have you all not have to pick between football and Big Jeff. I would never want to do that, but we will be doing them. All right, counts are going up. Who else we got in here? Comment your name once you get in. Make sure you like and share this out. We have some special guests on tonight. What's up, Athens, Alabama? Kevin, how you doing? Daniel Clark. Hello, Jeff and the fam. Thank you so much for coming in. Again, just to recap, we're doing, we used to kick it off right away and people missed the intro. So I did a little talk to myself now. So we get the numbers up and then we kick it off. We have some special guests tonight. We have some representatives in the kicker world here. So this is going to be exciting. And then everybody keep in mind, next podcast coming up will be on Friday nights at the same time. Okay, we got Joshua Lawrence in here. What's up? Kevin E. Terrell Speedway is always in here. I love you, man. Nathaniel Stewart. What's up, everyone? Okay, so tonight is a big night. We're going to be talking about Kicker. Kicker, when I was growing up, was the biggest brand and was heavily into the bass world. And we are going to be talking with them what's coming up, what's coming new. And of course, everybody's always want to talk about the Solo X's so we can pick their head on the other sizes. But make sure while you're in here, you like and share this out. Let's get a bunch of people in here. And we'll wait another minute or two and we'll get this thing kicked off. Hopefully everybody's having a good night. Episode 18. It's crazy. 18 weeks already. Time's flying by. Sarah Dusty Hutchinson, what's up? Louis Fabian, Billy Milan. All right, we got people all over the U.S. in here jumping in. Again, make sure you hit the like button right now if you're on Facebook. You can also hit that on YouTube and then share this out. Leah Franks is in here. That's our customer service manager. Joshua Lawrence, good stuff. I'm still rock. Oh, here we go. I remember you. Joshua Lawrence, good stuff. I'm still rocking the Kicker quad box. I got it, Big Jeff Audio. Still stoked. You made the video for me and the family. I appreciate that. You appreciate that. Let's see here. Rodney Martin. Let me grab him. Rodney Martin says, Kicker was one of my first builds when I was younger. Definitely. Let's see. Robin Williams. Well, Robin's actually, I think, coming out to the next show with us. Going to be staying at the house. All right. Well, we got enough people in here, and I don't want to keep people too long. So, hey, Ben, let's get this thing started.
It's Big Jeff Audio in the chair. Have a seat and relax. Don't be going nowhere. Got guests coming on. They be giving advices. Check out the website for them dope ass prices. Lowest in town. Yeah, that's a fact. He be keeping them down. He's a maniac. Giveaways done every 1,000 subs. And to any other channel, he show nothing but love. Big Jeff on the mic, you know he get down. What's the name of the show? Well, that's Big Sound. Big subwoofers, yeah, that's the type. Deviant for life, I'm saying smash the like, and we out.
our episode 18. I'm going to run through some announcements real quick. One, I want to give a big shout out to Alan at Gale Force. We are very close to the new line of speakers coming out. We are actually a part of getting them first. So we're going to have some prototypes, well, not prototypes, but made air flighted over, and we're going to get them on here to talk about it. They're going to be a lesser expensive waterproof option. So stay tuned for that. If you haven't done it, make sure you hit the like, share button right now. We appreciate it. I will and do work for likes and shares. If you're a bot or not, it doesn't matter to me, and I appreciate it. Yes, we are way over 800,000 subscribers, and it is going nonstop. I will do a video on how it was done. I'm going to call it Grow a YouTube in 90 days. And I can assure you, listen to all the crazy people out there. If it was bots, it'd be shut down by now. We wouldn't have a play button, and amongst many other things. But there is some new things on YouTube that most people don't know about, and I'm going to tell the world. There's a lot of people talking about it already, but we're going to explain how we got there, and we're going to hit that 1 million. We're going to get our account review, and we're going to get our gold button. Next, we have a bunch of giveaways this month because of all the subscribers and the 1,000 we do it. This time we're giving away 5 winners. So there's 5 people that can win. And the way to do it is to comment your name, location, and why you should win. And then you need to share that video out amongst your different social medias and send us screenshots. Every screenshot is an entry. And then when we pick them, first one gets first choice, second, all the way down. And we're giving away 5 winners. So that's real cool. Tonight, like every podcast, we're giving away. And since we have some really cool people from Kicker, we're going to be giving away some Kicker items. We have a 4-channel RCA we're giving away, and some Kicker CST20 tweeters we're going to be giving away. So we can kick that off. If you want to win the RCA cables and swap out the ones you have, go ahead and comment the word Kicker. We can start that now. What else we got going on? Upcoming podcast will be on Friday nights at 7:30 because of football season. We are hopefully going to announce the 3 March digital winners that are getting sponsored and their amps swapped out. We should be doing that here before the end of the month. We have a new Drunk Text Big Jeff winner, which is if you text the word drunk to 737 Big Jeff, we put you in a giveaway, and every week we text somebody a winner. And this week's winner is Michael Holdsworth. There's a screenshot. He gets a text saying you won. We ship it out, and then hopefully they send us a screenshot back of our selfie. And we do that every week. That is a campaign we're doing nonstop. All right. Shout out to our first Big Jeff YouTube member. We did set up Sarah Gastrot. I hope I said that right. We have different levels you can subscribe on our YouTube. Some of them are discounts or swag or giveaway or even getting on here. So she is our first member. Thank you very much. And if you haven't done so, make sure you text the word chain to 737 Big Jeff. And we will be doing giveaways each month for that. Okay. We're going to do a quick video break, and then we're going to bring back on Lori and John from Kicker, and we're going to get down and dirty with them. And if you have some questions, get them ready. We're going to try to hit them up as many as possible tonight. So we'll be back after a quick video break with John and Lori from Kicker.
It's been a long road since the original Kicker christened that first pickup truck. Oklahoma has always been a hotbed for musical talent, and Stillwater just added to that legacy. Steve Irby essentially invented the full-range mobile audio enclosure market when he built the original in 1980. That kicked off a car audio renaissance, and upgrading your music in a vehicle was a requirement. We followed and supported enthusiasts who sweated over unbelievable audio systems to recreate perfect mobile sound. America's music machines became living loud over your passion, your emotion, your existence. From boats to motorcycles to side-by-sides, we still follow you wherever your music takes you. Outdoors or on the open road, Kicker provides the rhythm to your life.
So, I mean, I go back to when I was 15 years old, and things were so different, obviously, in the world. But in car audio, the first shop I worked at was a high-end shop. They made it to World Finals that year, Iasca, which was way different than now. And I wasn't even allowed to get in a car for 6 months. I went from pushing a broom to wiring up relays. And then I finally got into actually a car, and that's the way they did it. But Kicker, there was only a few big brands back then, and just Kicker was in the bass world. There wasn't much other than that. Let's start here. Lori, if you want to introduce yourself, let everybody know who you are and what you do for Kicker, and then we'll go to John.
Okay, so I'm Lori Boyer, and I am the Southeast Regional Sales Manager. So I manage the Southeast, which is Florida, North and South Carolina, Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, and it kind of was weird because it goes up into Indiana, Kentucky, and Chicago. But so in the sales department, I've actually been with Kicker for 35 years.
Wow.
Been in about 5 different departments. I took a break from college, and because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with my life. And my roommate at the time, she worked at Kicker in the customer service department. And she said, well, we've got a file clerk position open, and if you want to come down and do that. So I did. And I'm still to this day, trying to figure out what I want to do with my life. So, but like I said, been in 4 or 5 different departments, had like 11 different jobs total, and just have loved every minute of it. So it's been a blast.
That's a crazy thing to be there that long and see all the changes. And John, I see the bottom there says Mr. 12 volt, Dr. 12 volt. You want to introduce yourself and give us a little background on that?
Yeah, well, when I used to own my store, I had a store in Lincoln, Nebraska from 88 to 92. Everyone called me Dr. Boom because, that was back in the heyday of the SPL stuff. And we were the only ones in town that were building custom enclosures and doing the big systems. So I kind of got the nickname Dr. Boom. So when I first got my first AOL screen name, someone already had that. So I had to come up with something different. So that's where Dr. 12 volt came from. So I'm not just Boom. I do everything 12 volts.
So where your position? Yeah.
I was going to say, also on his business cards has the as seen on TV. That's his other moniker.
Yeah, you're well known for sure. So what is your actual position there right now?
I am the senior global trainer and the custom media projects analyst. So I actually help design all the systems for the guys that are doing the TV shows and the car builds and the high-end car builders. And it's my job to travel the world and teach people about the Kicker product, which has been an unbelievable honor and, just an amazing ride for the last 27 years here with this company.
And we're going to go back to the world because I want to touch on that. Lori, right away, they're asking, do you have Kicker in your vehicle?
Oh, of course I do.
Okay.
I do. So currently right now, what I have is previously we had a line of the VSS, which is the vehicle specific stuff.
Right.
And so that's what I have in my vehicle. It's like a little 8-inch powered sub that's hidden away in the back. But I've had multiple systems in just about every car. My son has systems in his car, but my husband, unfortunately, I haven't put one in his vehicle ever. So, but yes,
you brought up traveling the world. I think people get closed-minded, right? Especially big brands like this that have been from the start. Kicker, yes, USA, but explain to everybody how big this is worldwide.
Lori, do you have any numbers on that?
Yeah, we actually are in around 68 countries around the world. We've got 18 different international distributor partners that we work with, and we're in around 68 countries.
That's
John
crazy.
just got back from South Africa.
That's crazy. this is a worldwide thing. And what I've seen too on the growth on our social media, there's people South Africa, it's just everywhere. And even I had a guy hit me up on Facebook. He ends up running car shows there, and I'm talking makes some of ours look like nothing. Okay, and we don't realize in some of these countries, Dubai, everywhere, just it's everywhere. I mean, car audio part of the human being, which is a crazy thing. Okay, so I'm going to get right into it because I know everybody's going to want to know. So we can start. Give us a little history on the Solo X, and then let us know where we're going with the Solo X. Oh, wait, hold on. Do you think you'll ever preload multi-sub enclosures with the Solo X like you did with the quad box? Well, that's a great question.
And you can't rule anything out, because if you would have asked us 3 years ago if we were going to do something like a quad box, most of the marketing executives would have said no. And look where that landed us. We thought we'd just throw 100 out there and see what happened, and we're shipping well over 1,000 of them. So
right,
I put my mind which way to go.
The price, the size, and I think it was during season, but I think 1 month we went through 3 or 4 of them, and people were just excited. So now let's dip into it is, and it's a great box. You can't, even if you add up the price, the speakers, custom built, and the quality, you're right there. And if you have the size vehicle to just pop it in there, it's a win-win all the way around. Obviously, it's the whole Solo X frenzy. Give us the short history on the Solo X.
Well, the original Solo X we introduced back in 2003, and that was a 10-inch, a 12-inch, and an 18-inch. And why we did do a 15, I really don't have an answer for that. I'm not sure exactly what happened there, but yeah, just the 3 sizes. And what was really cool about that driver back when they were introduced is you could replace the cone and voice coil assembly, pretty much the soft parts, without dismounting the basket. And that 18-inch, that basket was 106 pounds. So I can tell you, I definitely smashed a few of my fingers mounting those. But there were a couple other companies out there that did some things differently. And you could take the speaker apart and you could, re-glue a new cone in. And there was one company that you literally just unscrewed the motor assembly, the magnet, the back plate, and the pole piece off of one and screwed it onto another one. But you still had to dismount it from the enclosure. So this was the first one that you could do that with it. And it was a huge success.
Ben, can you pull up the Solo in half, and then John can kind of explain what makes this thing so special? I think we have that picture ready. There we go.
There's the new one.
Yeah, can you break that down, John, and tell us what makes this thing so special?
Yeah, absolutely. If you start off with the thick back plate on that, the back plate has something called forced air cooling, which you can see if you follow the voice coil straight down. You see a little channel, and what we've done is we've basically turned the speaker into an air pump that pulls cool air in right on the voice coil and then vents the hot air back out of the back. And that's something that we're going to include in all of our woofers. In fact, it's in probably 70% of them right now. And it keeps the voice coil 20 to 25% cooler than without it. So that's pretty special what that forced air cooling does. But the other function that has, and the difference between the old Solo X and the new Solo X, the new Solo X, you do have to dismount from the enclosure, because on the back side where those forced air cooling vents are, we actually have alignment pins that look like acupuncture needles that go in the back side to make sure the voice coil is aligned properly. The tolerances are so tight on these drivers to get maximum performance that you cannot interchange the impedances. So if you've got a dual 1-ohm, speaker, fresh out of the box, you need to buy the dual 1-ohm, replacement assembly, because you will not get the performance that you should if you mix and match them. So the next thing we have in the center, which is basically like an engine block. So if we look at a piston in an engine, the piston is what moves up and down. So we'll consider that like the voice coil, because that's what moves up and down. That's where the heat's generated. Then from there, it's transferred into the engine block. Well, that's like that center pole piece. And by having a hyper extended pole piece that's extended about 1.5 inches beyond the top plate, not only do we get superior thermal cooling, but we get a really uniform, huge magnetic field. And then, of course, that heat is then transferred from the pole piece to the back plate. That back plate acts like the radiator in a car. That's where the heat is dissipated. So if you've been running your speakers hard and you put your hand on the back of them and they're warm, doing exactly what they're supposed to, because Speakers, as a rule, are very inefficient. Efficiency being power in versus power out. Your average speaker is somewhere around 2 to 4%, not 20 to 40, but 2 to 4% efficient. So all the rest of the power that goes into those speakers basically is dissipated as a little bit of motion and a whole lot of heat. So the better you get the heat out of the enclosure, the better it's going to last. Layman
terms, they can beat on it harder and longer and not have a failure rate like a lot of other cheaper woofers.
Exactly. Now we're rating these woofers at 2,000 watts continuous RMS. And when we test our speakers, we push them to the limit. I mean, we don't just give them tone bursts. This speaker, and I don't know if if it's a joke or it did actually happen, but I don't know if it was planned on it or if they just made it sound like a joke. But they ran these speakers for well over 100 hours at full power at 40 hertz.
Wow!
And the Klippel measuring equipment, and that's pretty much the industry standard for the ultra precise measuring tool for speakers. It was only at 60% of the thermal capacity.
Wow, that's incredible. I mean, it just could have kept on running, right?
Oh yeah. A lot of people ask, why don't you rate it at more power? And the whole thing is, we want to make that power number, reasonable. We don't want to overrate the power handling on it. Plus,
and then we underrated it. Efficient, right? And I always explain in the retail world, efficiency. It's like having a twin turbo in a vehicle that's running off 6 cylinders compared to a V8, and it's creating the same amount of power. It's efficiency. That question I was just was asking about if they had to torque the screws down. We missed it. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
If you go to the Kicker website and you go to the Solo X section of the spare, there's a video where I actually show how to rebuild the speaker, and it takes less than 10 minutes. In fact, I'll be honest, it takes less than 5 on your first one, including pulling out of the enclosure. But you do have to torque the bolts down. There is a torque sequence, kind of like with a wheel. You start, relating back to cars. You got disc brakes. Everybody knows, when you're putting the lug nuts back on, you got to do a star pattern so you don't warp the rotor. Same thing with the spare assembly. It's 20 inch-pounds of torque, which is not a lot. I mean, you don't really have to crank these things down, but you want to have a consistent torque all the way around. And there is a torque sequence, and both those numbers are on that video for both. There's 2 sets of screws you got to remove, a set on the front and then a set underneath on the spider landing. So there's 8 screws on the top and 8 screws underneath. And they are different lengths.
Kicker website, which has tons of information. Lori, maybe you can answer this one. I knew this was going to come up.
Yeah.
When is the Warhorse coming back?
So we're hoping Q1 of next year we will have a couple of models of Warhorse available.
Okay, that's not far away. And this is where, and we can get into this, this is kind of the start of Kicker getting back into the bass head world, correct? Because right now the 1800.1 is the largest amp, which isn't enough by itself really to do that. So is there going to be multiple models and powers on the Warhorse, or is it just going to be the one, or what's the plan? Can we even talk about it?
I think we talked about it enough.
I'm trying to sneak it in there a little bit, right?
Yeah, we are working on a couple of models for sure that we know that will be out Q1 of next year. There's a third one that's not sure about that one, but
I'm curious. I don't need to wait. Are we comparing the amps to Korean?
Well, there's been a lot of talk about where amplifiers are made and the quality. And I'll be honest with you, any factory around the world can build a good amplifier if the company's willing to design it and put the right materials into it. Mm-hmm. And I hear a lot of talk about full bridge and half bridge, and it doesn't matter as long as it's designed correctly. You can have good full bridge and you can have bad full bridge. It just is all in the design of the product and some of the other things you do with the product. Now, with our amplifiers, same thing like the woofer. When we test them at full power for a length of time. I mean, it's weird when you start talking about thermaling an amplifier, how long they actually go in the test to do that. And in the conventional world, not talking about the SPL amps, these really big, high, powerful amplifiers, it used to be about a 5 to 7 minute window, believe it or not, that the engineers were shooting for. So they run it at full power, minimum impedance, if it ran for 7 minutes, I mean, that was absolutely stellar. And you'd be surprised how many amplifiers would not pass that test that were in the market. But the other thing we do is we build the power supplies, so they're not just capacitor driven. They're not just burst amplifiers. These are full sine wave for as long as you can give them the power. And a lot of these companies, they just don't do that. They'll design an amp that'll do a tone burst of high power, but it will not sustain that for several minutes.
Right. Lori, can you give us an estimate or a possibility when they're going to come out with the other size Solo X's?
So the 10 is going to be the model that comes out, and I think we're just waiting to hear about when they're going to go in production and when they'll get on the boat. So, I mean, that is probably going to be at least another at the minimum.
Okay, we cut off. So we're saying, I think you said 3 or 4 months at a minimum.
No.
I tried.
Yeah, what I said.
No, I understand. Production, getting on the boat. Yeah, we're talking about a little bit of time. But Kicker is fully stocked and they've replenished the 12-inch though. So there's plenty of supply going into the season for that 100%. So let me ask you, Lori, and you can explain this. What's in Kicker's future? I mean, what is the plan for the next couple of years? I mean, car audio kind of, we had this explosion during COVID, and then it kind of died out. Like, okay, maybe it's not back. And then I really feel this last year, just it's back. It's popular. There's more shows and more. So where is Kicker trying to go? What is the future?
So, I mean, car audio is always going to be a part of our future and stuff like that. But, like you said, before COVID, when it was just, kind of like slowing down and contracting, it wasn't really getting any bigger and stuff. We had to diversify, and we've been in the marine category for close to 20 years now. And that has been huge growth for us, especially over the last 10 years. So, marine is category for us. Power sports with the UTVs and the side-by-sides and slingshots and golf carts, that's another very big growing category. The side-by-sides during COVID just really, really took off. And then motorcycles. So, audio in all of the I think is categories that we're truly focused on. It's not just going to be car anymore. We'll continue in the car, with the SPL side, with the sound quality side, the performance side. We'll always be in the car, but we have to diversify because marine is going to be a huge category for us continuing on. Power sports, motorcycles, side-by-sides. We have some home audio category that we do outdoor speakers, things. So anything that you could put audio on is going to be that we want to focus on.
I can tell you in the last few podcasts, some manufacturers, what's coming up more and more is about all the electric vehicles. And is Kicker starting to look into that side of it? I mean, eventually, it's going to be majority electric vehicles, and we're going to make changes. And I'm hearing that having that type of vehicle is actually good for car audio. And it actually can work even better, is what I'm told. Amplifiers don't even need power supplies at that point. Things obviously run at a higher voltage, so we're going to have less issues. So is Kicker looking in the jump into that side of things?
Oh, yeah. Our engineers have been on that for quite a while, just following that market. And one of the things we're finding now, and I don't know if you've seen this, some of the new Teslas are, they're running 15, 16 volts all the time.
Right.
So that's an issue for some of the products that, like our amplifiers, we put a 15.5 volt limit on the voltage just to protect the capacitors on the inside. And if people are using 16 volt caps and they're not putting any type of low voltage or high voltage protection, they're going to start, blowing the caps right out of the amplifiers. But the other thing that's, a factor in the electric car market is these vehicles are so, entrenched in electronics and computers that if there is, too high of a current draw from too large of an audio system, the car will shut down. It'll disconnect the battery because they're monitoring that threshold is somewhere around the 2000 watt mark. So what they're worried about, is monitoring for a battery shorting out in a battery fire. So that's going to be an issue that, we're looking into, and this industry is going to have to figure out is, are we going to have to put a separate electrical system in these vehicles because of the protection on that battery to prevent the car fires, or, what's going on?
Right. Well, if you haven't entered, you needed to comment the word kicker. Let's go ahead and run that. We'll give everybody one last chance if you haven't done it already. Laurie, when it pops up, if you want to announce the winner, that'll be great. Let's go ahead and pick a winner for the 4-channel set of RCAs.
Congratulations, Joshua.
Joshua Lawrence.
Fantastic.
Perfect. So just contact 737 Big Jeff, and my team will get you a set sent out right away. What we're going to do is we have a set of CST20s, flush mount tweeters. We will be giving those away. If you wanted to comment the word, looks like they screwed up on that. 50 years, 50 space years. Go ahead and comment the word 50 years. You can go ahead and do that now, and that'll get you in for the winner there. Let's see. Let's do this. We're going to do another short break. We got a little video insert, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to be with Lori and John, talk more about kicker.
It is my great honor and pleasure to introduce to you the incredible and soon-to-be legendary line of Kicker Solo X woofers. The key thing that makes this woofer so incredible and sets it apart from the competition is the ability to replace this cone, voice coil, and spare assembly in the field if necessary without the need of any special tools, adhesives, or glues. The extremely thick backplate and hyper-extended pole piece provide superior cooling and magnetic energy to the voice coil. It also features forced air cooling vents in the back of the speaker that draw cool air in, directing it right on the voice coil, and then forces the warm air back out of the cooling vents for supreme thermal capacity. This will help keep the woofer up to 25% cooler than its competitor. The extreme energy of the triple stack magnet gets focused in the small magnetic gap for extreme SPL applications. The dual opposing spiders help center the voice coil within the gap to ensure that the voice coil will not rub under high pressure application. The woofer features a 3mm thick non-pressed paper pulp cone topped off with a polypropylene dust cap, surrounded by an ultra-tall roll Santoprene surround with ultra-large ribs for maximum control and excursion. All of this is stitched to that non-pressed paper pulp cone. The ultra-long 4-layer voice coil is attached to aluminum voice coil former and sits inside a very tight magnetic gap for ultimate performance. For power connections to the woofer, we have this spring-loaded binding post that will accept up to 8-gauge wire and a dual 8-gauge terminal block. You can use either one or both of these to connect this woofer to your amplifier. To ensure the logo is in the right orientation, the magnet boot is reversible to make sure that the logo is always positioned right side up.
Who is that guy?
Yeah, geez, I thought that was you, but the resemblance is really
That guy's much better looking than I am.
El Fuego says, is it true that Kicker is working on a standalone key DSP?
He's always bugging us for that. And all I can say is we can't talk about that right now.
Okay, we can't talk about that right now. Lori, if you were to want to get a message out about Kicker to the people watching us now and the people that are going to watch us in the future, what would it be?
Oh, man.
Well, I caught you right there. That was a good one.
You did. So, well, there's a ton of good audio companies out there. It's always good to have a ton of good audio companies. But, for me, being with Kicker for 35 years, I can tell you that hands down, ours is, what I would consider the best product out on the market, because I know what goes into it. I know what our 56 different engineers that are in our R&D department do every day, trying to design and develop and test and everything. And just the people of the company, it's not the product that you're buying. You're not just buying an excellent audio product. You've got the company that's behind it. You've got the personnel, the customer is so important. That's what I would want people to know, that you're not just buying a product. You're being involved with a company that is just out of this world, one of the best
You gotta
out there.
the customer service, the tech support. It's like, one of my vehicles is a BMW, and when if you ever owned a BMW, the service is incredible. You can go in there anytime, eat, drink. They'll pick your vehicle up. You're paying for the vehicle, right? And it's great quality. It's got all the features, but you're also paying for the service. And we warranty or tech support 99%. And we give them the offer when they call in or email in. You can contact Kicker. We'll take care of you too. But, I think people are so used to a lot of manufacturers just pushing them back to the distributors and the sellers and the dealers. And when you buy a Kicker product, it's like being a part of Kicker, right? It's, if you did it right, you registered it, it's all serial numbered. The paperwork that comes in it means that somebody actually turned this thing on and tested it. And that to me is the big difference. Past the quality of it is everything else. El Fuego jumped back in and said, Kicker quality, I still have a pair of gold letter 8s from 1989.
That's awesome. Well, actually, Jeff, if
I'm
you don't mind.
I'm calling bluff. You need to send us a picture of that because I'm calling you out on that one. Go ahead,
Jeff,
John.
if you don't mind, I want to elaborate on what you said.
Yeah.
And I just want to, Steve Irby's, statement says, he wanted customer service not to be a hassle, a pain. Our guys in amp repair, you bring the amplifier to them. If it's not fixed in 24 hours, they turn around, pack up a new one and send it back to you. And then they mess with it later. But these guys are on top of it. And, not to toot, Kicker's horn too much or, not to be biased, but it is true. We are the last freestanding company that hasn't been sold, bought, or, plagiarized. So it's, 50 years, the same guys owned it, the same values. And when it comes to designing the products, we design everything in-house. We don't, go out and source products. We own all the tooling that makes our products. And we don't have a bunch of, salespeople in, no offense, Lori, a bunch of, executives sitting in an office, in suits going, well, we want to make a product. We want to make this percentage profit on it. And it should look like this. These, our guys are actual, enthusiasts. We are all about audio. And you got a whole bunch of guys in a room that are musicians. They're enthusiasts and they absolutely love music. And that's what really shows in the products.
Yeah. We have, I just saw that, Nick Gear, happy birthday. You try to catch all these comments. We have somebody in the background doing it. I guess it's his birthday. So we're going to give Nick Gear a shout out.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you for being on here. John, I'm curious. So you go all over the world.
Yes.
What do you, if you would explain the big difference between America and other countries, how would you explain it when it comes to this industry?
I used to say, I was in Africa, back in 2014, and I was there in, I think, 2010 or 11 as well. But I just got back from there, like last week, spent 10 days. And it's interesting. The biggest challenge any American company has is the dollar to conversion rate. I mean, we go over there, as Americans, and everything's really, really affordable to us. But for those guys, things are 4 to 5 times the price because of the difference in currency. But, we've got such an extensive, network of distributors in, Europe and Africa and Australia and South America. And the products, I mean, we listen to what everyone says. We take any input that anybody has about our product, good or bad. And I tell people all the time, don't be afraid to tell us what you don't like. If we don't know, we can't fix it. So we take all kinds of input from everybody and, we listen, and that's why the products are so good. If we didn't listen to what the people said out there, if we just made a product and threw it out in the market and hoped it would sell, we wouldn't be here today. So
100% criticism.
The level of scholars out there is really incredible. Like you were talking about, some of those cars down in Africa, I mean, they'll rival the vehicles that are built over here. I just recently saw a vehicle that someone built in Iran that, I'm looking at this, going, oh my God, what an incredible install. Then I'm reading through, it's like, this is from Iran. But guys, there's audio enthusiasts everywhere, and they're always seeking out, good, dependable, durable products. And we're always right in that mix.
John Rowe says, will there be a 2K4 channel, which I think is a very popular model these days?
Well, I
especially
think
for loudspeakers.
I think I can talk about this a little bit because Jeremy did let this out of the bag on our show. We are working on a 1,000-watt 4-channel full-range Warhorse amplifier. That's going to be the second amp out with the 3600 one.
And this is a great question because, I was out of cardio for a few years before I went back into this, and a lot changed. And the biggest thing that changed was the loudspeaker epidemic. Okay, drivers and PA and is Kicker. I know they have some full range and they do have pro audio. Is that something also maybe in the future, being how popular that type of
absolutely
and highs are? Because I've seen you got a lot of companies out there that have made their way just because of their pro audio stuff.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. It took us a longer to get into that scene because, once again, every single product is designed and manufactured in-house, but more importantly, you've got one guy that's got to approve it, sound quality and performance, and that's Steve Irby, the owner. And for the longest time, a lot of those products didn't have the sound quality that Steve expected from his products. So we finally came out with our Street Series, the ST Series, which are the 7 and 9 inch square mids and the 1 inch and the 1.5 inch bullet tweeter. But they really sound good. They're extremely loud, but they still sound good. So Steve is going to stick to his guns. If it doesn't sound good, doesn't matter, how many people, are running it out there. He's not going to be just a me too. He's going to do it, and he's going to do it better.
I'd love to get this answer on this question from each of you. Laura, you go first. In your opinion, what's the best Kicker product that was produced? Well, we'll say twofold. Produced in the past and current now. How's that?
Wow. Okay. So in us, we used to make these MB8s. So they were the mid bass inch SS MB8s, and they just sounded so good. So that was one of my favorite ones. It's not super exciting, but it was. Currently, what do I like? I mean, you got to go with the Solo X because it's sexy, it's fun, it brings back those days car easy and a blast.
One thing I liked about JL Audio growing up was they were innovative. There was new things, right? And you look at the Solo X, there's nothing like it. Okay, it's innovative. It is completely out of the box, different, and anybody was even trying to copy it, it would just look like a copy because it's so different. We're not talking about being square. John, the way you describe the way that thing works makes you look at it differently, even down to the double spider to hold that in place. The average person doesn't really understand that. And for the people out there that haven't had one in their hands, when we got our first shipment, you just kind of stared at it for a while. You know what I mean? You just kind of looked at it and said, wow, right? It's just
a statement.
Right. Yeah. It just was totally different. And I know in my warehouse, multiple brands and literally several hundred different woofers. Looking at that made you stop and say, there's nothing else that looks like this. It just feels tough. It feels strong. It feels expensive. You know what I mean? And I think that's a big thing on it. John, in your opinion, past product favorite and current product favorite, and why?
Okay, so my past product favorite, I actually got two, and they're kind of related. One of them were the FX series amplifiers that we introduced back about 2003, which were way beyond their time. It was really high-end DSP amplifiers that the user could program, but the guys just they didn't know how to program DSP back then. But the recently retired Q-Class amplifiers, every one of my vehicles still has Q-Class amplifiers in it. The versatility, the ease of adjusting them, and the performance to me is just second to none right now. And unfortunately, the parts, expired that those were built with, which is why they had to end their life, because we basically ran out of the materials to build them and the replacements weren't available. So that's why that product went away. And of course, we're working on replacements for it as we speak. Current product that I really like right now, and and I agree with you, Lori, that, the big flash and the Solo X, I mean, it's really big impact, but I'm going to go a little different direction. I'm going to go a little bit more practical and usable product line, and that's going to be the key products. Because these new vehicles, with all the DSP that colors the sound for those factory systems, the fact that the key products go back and restore that signal back to the way the recording engineer wanted it to be heard, and lets you start with a flat, even playing field so you can do all the adjustments from there, or just put the product in, let it tune itself where you don't have to worry about having any, experience with DSP and oscilloscopes and RTAs. So that's what I really like about what we have now is the simple equipment that it really comes down to what is the end goal? The end goal is really good sound, good image, good stage. And do you want to, spend 8 to 10 hours tuning a vehicle to get that? Or do you want to, put in a pink noise track and put a microphone in, push a button, wait 3 minutes and come out of the vehicle? Wow.
Yeah. Or you get the guy down the street that knows everything and says, I can make it sound better. And he starts turning buttons, but
everything up, louder.
Yeah, it can go louder. Bob here says, John, will Kicker plan to revamp the Q series amplifiers?
Yes. We've got a product line that you'll see eventually that should have been out years ago. And once again, just with the whole COVID thing, that's going to be, a similar product line. It's going to be better in a lot of ways than the Q class, but you'll see that hopefully by the end of next year.
Okay, cool. If you haven't done already, you should have done 50 years for the CST20 tweeters. John, we'll let you pick out the winner.
Cool.
Hold on, we got a question real quick. Any replacements planned for the Square Q subs?
Yes.
Okay.
So that was another thing that, you talk about COVID. And as I mentioned, we design everything in-house. We own all the tooling, which you'd think we could make that continuously forever, but we don't have the production ability here in this country. And the factory that made those during COVID lost a lot of their employees, and they just decided, hey, we're going to concentrate on home audio and home audio only.
Right.
So that kind of caught us off guard. So that's why we don't have a replacement in the barn right now. But they're always coming up with new and better products. So stay tuned on that.
100%. We're gonna I haven't done this tonight. It's giveaway time. We'll go ahead and pull up the winner. And John, you can announce the winner for the Kicker tweeters tonight. Ben, who we got?
Kevin E. Terrell.
Kevin,
congratulations, Kevin.
Congratulations. Contact 737 Big Jeff. My team will get those shipped out and some swag for you ASAP. We learned a lot of cool things tonight. What's this? Ryan Ware. I'm so stoked to see Kicker coming back strong. And I don't want to say coming back. Kicker's been around, but like any company, you have to make changes. And in this industry, and when you're a manufacturer, you can't just change overnight. There's a process. And, you learn tonight that Kicker puts all the time and effort into it beforehand. So there is no version 2s, version 3s, and fixes. And that's big. So when the product's available and ready to sell, it's ready. It has been tested. It has gone through trials and tribulations to be at that point. And that's the type of, if you're a sound quality person or you are trying to get into the bass world, you spend your money. And I can tell you, you'll spend less by buying the right product first.
Absolutely.
People will waste way more money fixing, changing, and doing those type of things. Listen, tonight was an incredible night. I'm so happy you guys came on. Everybody should know, we talked about it. We had the chance to bring Kicker in to the Big Jeff audio site basically right at the end of last year. And, it's been a great partnership since. And, I look at it, especially being still a new company, we're just a little over 5 years, to have partnerships like that with brands like that is incredible. And it's just been great to have that product. And, what I like is every time I look at it, to me, it just looks like a BMW. You know what I mean? It's white gloved. The boxes are beautiful. The packaging, even when we open them up and look at them, there's that certificate in there that it was actually tested. So, that cuts out it came bad out of the box, right? Or it had a hole in it, right?
Right by the installation hole.
Yeah, all the time. It came that way. But I want everybody to know, you buy it from us, you buy it from anybody. As long as you're buying it from a Kicker dealer, you can go to Kicker yourself. They'll help you design a box. They'll help you design a system. They'll help you with warranties. And like he said, they take pride in no hassle. And that's part of the reason why you spend a little bit more money. And don't get me wrong, there's plenty of product that is entry level pricing. I think they have it for everybody. And then we touched a little bit, and maybe we can do it on the next time we have you all on. There's a whole off-road power sports line. It is literally this long of part numbers. And I'm talking not just towers, it's drivers and speakers. And I mean, there's so much power sports, marine stuff. It'll blow your mind. And I don't think any normal dealer will be able to stock it all. I mean, it's just a huge lineup. And, Kicker's been there. It's still here. And I think it's not a comeback, everybody. It's, hey, we're going to be changing with the times. And being that the basehead world is back strong, they're going to start producing or reaching out to that type of people. So I hope everybody got those few things tonight for sure. Lori, thank you so much. You were a big part of us even getting the opportunity to have the brand, and where we go from here is incredible. John, this is actually the first time getting to talk one-on-one with you. I'd love
That's been great.
Yeah, 100%. I'm so glad you guys came on the show. And I hope after football tonight, everybody picks up on the video later on. Listen, if you have any last-minute comments, we got a few minutes. I always keep it right to the 8:30s. Let's see. Jay Hall, I received my huge package from you today. Great. Anybody have any last-minute questions they want to get out? John says, thank you, John and Lori.
Thank you.
I've spent years, as I said, and Kicker was always the brand that could turn heads. That was from Ryan Rare. Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan.
This is some really good feedback. I can tell you, Kicker, what's this? Kicker customer service is top notch. They helped me with my box for my Comp Q15. I can guarantee you all, these two are going to go back to the company and bring up some of the stuff that was talked about and some of the comments. And that's what makes a company great. I know in my company, I've had to pivot constantly because I opened right before COVID, and it was just a constant change since then. And that's what makes you good. Jimmy Jam, is Kicker coming out with a new amp? Jimmy, you're late.
Bit snoozing.
Jimmy, you're going to have to play this after we reload. Yes, they were talking about the Warhorses. Yes, they are. We didn't get the exacts, but we know they're coming, and they're coming early next year. How about that?
Yes.
We'll go there. Kevin,
Yes.
is there plans for 2,000 watt bass amp? Well, they have the 18, and yes, there's going to be, we're talking about the Warhorses, so I'm sure it's going to be over 2,000. Right now, you can get the 1,800 one. Don't forget, these amps are rated conservative. You'll get that 18 plus some for sure. We're going to talk again. I want to bring you guys back because John and Laura, I want to get into the OEM stuff. The more and more vehicles are coming with nicer radios. They're adding in, just like me, you add in at the back. And you guys are actually making parts to make that literally plug and play and tune and all. You don't even need anybody. So that'd be something on the next podcast I'd love to bring up and have my team get some parts up that everybody could look at. As the times go on, cars will get nicer. Even older cars look nicer because they're being built differently. And Kicker's definitely got that market. Okay. It is 8:23. I'm not going to keep everybody till 8:30. I know I appreciate everybody that's come in. If you have any questions, the video will be up. You can comment later on, and I'm sure we can get over to Lori and John. Was very interesting. This was my first time catching a podcast. We'll definitely try to make next one. Thank you, Rodney. We tried to make this like a civilized show, not a bunch of people standing around going, and we tried to educate and learn some things, and that's the whole point of it. But for everybody, thank you for coming out tonight. This was number 18 with John and Lori from Kicker. We will definitely have them back on soon, and we can get in deeper. There's so much about Kicker. It can go multiple nights. And once again, thank you, everybody, for chiming in. please share this, like this, and follow this. And for all you believers, I think we're going to hit our 1 million subscribers here definitely by the end of the month. It's a definite big achievement. And we still have a couple big announcements coming up soon that I got to wait, but we will let everybody know. Until next time, next Friday at 7:30, because of football, we'll see you then. Thank you for coming out. I'm Big Jeff from Big Sound by Big Jeff. Thank you, Laurie and John.
Right.
Thank you and good night.
On there. Thanks for everything, man.
Another show in the bag, yeah, that's a wrap. Big Sound is the best, and it ain't no cap. Hit the website if you need that merch. It's Big Jeff Audio and hit the search. I know you had fun, yeah, you gotta admit it. That boy Big Jeff took his thing and he did it. Always a win, yeah, never a L. Did you smash the like, subscribe, and hit the bell? Share it on your socials, put it on blast. We'll be back next week with another podcast. Big Sound in the house, like no other deviant. Big Jeff, the bass head.